So as we're now in an international break, I thought we'd have a bit of a deeper dive into each championship team so far this season and have a look at what they're good and bad at. Guys, welcome back to another video on the channel. I always enjoy doing these videos throughout the season, but I picked out one interesting statistic that I found from each championship club so far this season, and I'm going to be bringing them to you today. So yeah, get your thoughts on this one in the comments down below. Are you surprised to learn the thing that we're going to discuss about your team today, or was it probably to be expected? As always, if you do go on to enjoy, make sure to leave a like. If we get it 350 likes, that would be massively appreciated. But without any further ado, let's jump into this one. Barnsley have won the most tackles in the championship so far this season. They've won 191 tackles, which is the most of any championship side up until this point, obviously. They are currently having their struggles and they are currently sat in the relegation zone, but this at least shows some sort of a positive and a willingness for them to be winning the ball back, albeit things haven't quite clicked for shop there so far. Birmingham don't like to shoot from outside the box. In fact, they've had the fewest amounts of shots from outside the box than any other championship side, with just 32 shots on goal coming from outside the box so far this season. It won't then come as much of a surprise to learn that Birmingham are currently one of 5 championship clubs who are yet to score a goal from outside the box, so that's something that they need to do a little bit more of. Blackburn have been clinical from the penalty spot so far this season. They've been awarded 3 penalties and they've gone ahead and scored all 3 of them, more than any other championship side so far this season. It has been Ben Brereton Diaz who has tucked away all 3 of them. Blackpool are the best performing newly promoted club. They currently sit 12th in the table on 15 points, but they also have more points at this stage of the season than any of the newly promoted clubs from last season had at this stage, which shows how well they've actually gone to adapting better than any of the sides that came up this season or from last season. Bournemouth have committed the most fouls in the championship so far this season, which I thought was a really interesting statistic. Obviously, Bournemouth, they're flying high in the championship at the moment and are currently the only side left unbeaten, but they do have a bit of a nasty streak about them, and they're clearly committed to committing a few tactical fouls here and there. So far this season, they've committed 148 fouls, which is the most in the championship. You probably get a few of them when you got Ben Pearson playing in your side, don't you? Bristol City have been the best side away from home so far this season. Now, it's been quite well documented about Bristol City's struggles at Ashton Gate recently, but it would only be fair of us to go ahead and reflect on what has been a terrific away record so far this season. Bristol City have picked up 12 points on the road, the most of any championship club up until this point. Cardiff City are the best side in the air. If there's one sort of stereotypical thing that you'd have of a Mick McCarthy side, it's that you know they're going to be quite strong in the air, and that's just what Cardiff have been so far this season. They've won more aerial duels than any other championship side so far this season, with 430 aerial duels won. Between Aidan Flint and Kiefer Moore, they themselves have won 156 aerial duels, and they've also scored the most headed goals in the championship, with 9 scored so far. With Coventry, they've been ruthless on counter-attacks so far this season. Of course, they have a flawless home record, which is also worth touching upon, but they've also scored the most goals from counter-attacks so far this season, with 3 of them, showing that Mark Robins' side wastes no time in turning defence to attack. With Derby, it's all about defensive resilience. Now, you'll know that they currently have the best defensive record in the league, with Bournemouth at the moment having only conceded 8 goals so far this season, but they've certainly had to put some work into that. They've made more clearances than any other championship side so far this season, with 289. Jagielka and Davis especially deserve real credit for that partnership that they formed between themselves. With Fulham, we could argue that they get a little bit unlucky at times so far this season, because they've hit the woodwork more times than any other championship club, having the ball come off the bar or post 7 times so far this season. So yeah, they just need to brush up on a bit of their finishing, it seems. Huddersfield Town have been the set piece masters of the season so far. They've scored more goals from set piece situations than any other championship club, scoring 6 goals from these scenarios so far this season. The only clubs who are yet to score from a set piece situation are Swansea and Hull, so maybe they could take a leaf out of Huddersfield's book at the moment. When it comes to Hull City, they need to keep themselves on side a little bit more. We did bring this stat up a few weeks ago on the channel, but they have been caught offside more more than any other championship clubs. 36 times already this season Hull have been caught offside, with Josh McGuinness being the main culprit, who he himself has been caught offside 12 times already this season. They are one of the lowest scoring sides in the league at the moment, Hull, with just 8 goals scored so far this season, so it's obviously an area which they'll look to be brushing up on over this international break. Luton are a very busy side off the ball, and that shows by this statistic that they've made more interceptions than any other championship side, with 146 interceptions so far this season, showing a real willingness to win the ball back and not give the opposition all too much time and space on the ball. Middlesbrough have racked up the most yellow cards so far this season, which is a bit of a stereotype probably of a Neil Warnock side, that they like to get sort of like stuck in and stuff like that, but I thought this was quite interesting. They've already picked up 31 yellow cards in the championship. Lee Peltier has been the main culprit for picking up yellow so far, as he's picked up 5 yellow cards in just 6 appearances this season. Millwall quite like to leave things late this season. They've scored 4 goals between the 75th and 90th minute, which is the joint most in the championship for the last 15 minutes of matches, along with QPR and Birmingham. Obviously, we got to see this last time out with Murray Wallace's 89th minute winner in their win against Barnsley last time around, so clearly they like leaving things until the last minute. Nottingham Forest like to have a shot from outside the box. Along with Fulham, they are leading in this regard with the most shots taken from outside the box so far this season, with 62 shots on goal already coming from just outside the box so far. Some of the long range strikes have paid off though, as 3 of their goals have come from outside the box so far this season. Speaking about shooting though, Peterborough are a side who need to start shooting a little bit more, because they've currently had the fewest attempts on goal in the whole of the division, with just 88 shots so far this season, and they are actually the only championship side to have had less than 100 attempts on goal so far this season, so clearly that's something that Peterborough need to work on, especially away from home. When it comes to Preston North End, we like to play it long. We average more long balls per game than any other championship side, with 79 long balls on average so far this season per 90. Emile Rees and Shirley Maguire have been the preferred sort of partnership up front for us so far this season, and the majority of their chances probably have come from balls over the top and things like that. You know, Ledson likes a ball over the top, and so I thought that was quite the interesting stat for Preston. QPR have been the best side from outside the box so far this season. Now, I know we mentioned that Nottingham Forest like a shot from outside the box, but QPR are certainly the most clinical, with 4 of their goals coming from outside the box, which is the most of any championship side so far this season. They've also scored the most amount of goals from open play this season, with 16, so yeah, QPR really entertaining side to watch if you want goals. Reading like to put their bodies on the line to ensure they're stopping the ball going into the back of the net. Now, Reading have been a little bit hit and miss when it comes to their defence so far this season, with only Peterborough having conceded more than them up until this point in the season, but the context of this is important. Obviously, defensive injuries certainly haven't helped them at times, and they've had to have players playing out of positions, but for that reason I thought it was interesting that they have blocked more shots than any other championship side this season, with 66 blocked shots. It does show that the opposition is getting a lot of shots on against them, but it also shows that, you know, their players are committed to stopping that. Sheffield United are the most accurate corner takers in the championship. Is there anything more infuriating than seeing a professional footballer not being able to beat that first man from a corner? Well, thankfully for Sheffield United, they've been alright from corner kicks so far this season, with 36 accurate corners taken, which is the most of any championship club. When it comes to Stoke City, they could actually be a little bit more clinical than they currently are. They're currently sat on 21 points, 4th in the championship, but there's still the underlying feeling that they could be on a few more points than that, particularly with games against Barnsley and my side Preston. Stoke certainly had the chances to win those matches, and it's reflected by the way that they've missed more big chances this season than any other championship club, with 23 big chances missed for Stoke so far this season. Swansea have completed the most passes in the championship so far this season, which probably won't come as a massive surprise if you have caught them so far this season. 6,533 passes have been made by Swansea, which is by far and away the most in the championship. In fact, Sheffield United are second in this list, and they've made 625 less passes than Swansea have so far. Swansea are also the most fouled side in the league, who have been fouled 156 times this season, which I thought was quite interesting. And then finishing it off with West Brom, who appear to be the goal poachers of this season. They've had more shots from inside the 6-yard box than any other championship club, with 30 of their shots this season coming from inside the 6-yard box. I think that quite a few of those chances will have probably come from like the long throw-ins being hurtled into the box and things like that. But yeah, West Brom will certainly make you pay from inside the 6-yard box. But there we have it, guys. That will wrap it up for today's video. Just a quick one where I thought I'd go through each championship club and tell you one interesting statistic that I've managed to dig out from them so far this season. As always, guys, if you did go in to enjoy, make sure to leave a like. Also, check out all the links in the description down below. Make sure to check out the Plant Sport Network if you're not already. We've got loads of collabs up on there with Benjamin Bloom and the Second Tier podcast. And we've got the 40-minute Football 365 show and the debate show, which goes out every Friday, which is always a lot of fun. Patreon down there as well. Got a few things planned on that. But apart from that, thanks for watching, guys. As always, make sure to leave a like and do subscribe. But I'll see you all in the next one.